Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I am here today with the first video of Quilt Bingo. Yay! It's Quilt Bingo. We finally get the start for Quilt Bingo. And what I'm going to start Quilt Bingo with is a quick little refresher on how to make templates. Yes, you might have to make some templates, and I'm going to show you some fun, quick ways on how to make templates. So don't panic, don't panic. But first, let's do our shout out. Our shout out is Sean, the guy who sews. Sean has been such a wonderful supporter of my channel, and I just want to give some love and encouragement back to him. So you guys, you go check him out, and you give him some love, encouragement, make comments, and tell him that he's doing a great job, because he is. He's having so much fun over on his channel, and he's talking to a bunch of other YouTubers as well. So you get a chance to meet other YouTubers. So this is kind of a cool thing. And also, you're going to find Sean's link in our show notes below, as well as your bingo card. Your bingo card is very, very important, because we're going to present this as 3 layers, right? So there's going to be the bingo, the beginner, the intermediate, and the hard. Right? So you work at the level you feel comfortable at, right? If you're like just started out and you've just finally figured out how to turn on your sewing machine, you haven't sewed anything really yet, you start at the beginner. Now, if you are a very confident beginner and you want some challenges, you can work at the intermediate level, right? Or you can work at the hard level. That's fine too. If you've been quilting for decades and you've been winning all sorts of ribbons at quilt shows and that, you can work it hard. You can do whatever you want. It's fine. It's all up to you. Now, if you really want to increase your skill and you're a confident beginner, right, you can work all 3 levels. Like, I mean, it's up to you how you're going to play this game, right? But it is going to be a game. And there's not very many rules. So, but we'll get into this after we do the template refresher, because you will need to know how to make templates. First off, we have Zoom sew dates from now until the end of December. And it is the first Saturday of every month from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So yay for Canada. And we have all sorts of fun on those Zoom sew days. I try and bring something very simple and fun that I can work with, and I can join in all the conversation that's going on and all the great people that come show up. We just have a blast in there. Also, we do share, like, and subscribe our YouTube channel with you and your friends, and give out Sean's as well, because I'm sure Sean would love to meet some of your friends as well. Also, we have a Facebook group, and we host a Discord sewing room, virtual sewing room, and therefore you now have a virtual sewing date, 24/7. So, and you never know who you're going to meet in there, because there are all sorts of like lovely people that come, and very talented quilters as well that show up in there. Also, I speak for free, and I talk about elements of design. I'm working with scrap fabrics and making charity quilts. And if your group or your guild is looking for somebody to speak on those topics, please keep me in mind and give me a shout. Now, I'm also coming up with a new speaking engagement profile, and I just have to kind of work it and tweak it. But when I get it done, I will definitely be mentioning that one as well here. Now, also shout outs. If you find a quilting channel that's needing some encouragement, and please let me know, especially the ones that are solely quilting based and that are smaller, because those guys need the help. They need the encouragement, because those people eventually become very important in the quilting community. So I think that's it. We've covered everything, so come on in. I gotta show you how to make templates and how to really tweak your template making ability. Okay, here we are. We're at the sewing machine, but I've got a plastic thing to write on, or a cutting mat. Paper, scissors, right? I have a long ruler, just a straight edge ruler, and I have really a thicker marker and a really fine marker. So depending on which one you prefer. Now, if you do a lot of hand piecing or want to do a lot of hand piecing, this hole punch is a godsend, because wow, it's a lovely piece of equipment that any hand quilter should have, because it is much easier than having an awl. Let's see if I can find an awl here. Anyways, an awl is here it is. Here's an awl. An awl is used to, it's a really sharp, fine point that people use to puncture things. Let me get Can the camera, there it is. So it's a really fine, sharp tip. And what they'll do is they will puncture their templates with this. But having one of these is perfect. Now, we also have binder dividers. We've got these at Staples, right? Or any office supply depot will have binder dividers. But get the clear plastic ones, right? Because you're not using these for cutting. You're using these to trace, right? So, like I say, you know, I've got a big one here for the octagon, and I've got 2 little ones. This is not part of Quilt Bingo, by the way, so you're not getting a PDF. All this is a how-to video. That's it. So, what you do is, here, I'll move this out of the way first, is I'm going to I'm going to line this up the best I can to get this little, like, you know, trapezoid here. This is the trapezoid we're trying to get. And I'm just going to put the paper, the plastic down. And with, I'm going to do the sew line first. Now the sew line is the line that's inside. That's what you sew on. And the outside is your seam allowance line. Now I'm just going to move this very gently so I don't smudge anymore. And you might want to let this felt dry a little bit. And, you know, that way, you know, you're not ending up with blue over everything. And I just dropped the cap. Oh, yay. There. Now, what some quilters do, especially the hand quilters, is they will only use templates for their sew line, because they will have a bunch of pieces of scrap that they will be putting together, right? And if this is a 1/4 inch seam or a 1/2 inch seam, doesn't matter, because your sew lines are already marked. Now what they do is they cut this out and then they draw on the back of their fabric the actual sewing line, right? And then, you know, everything makes it easier then. But sometimes you need templates for machine sewing, right? So you need to put your 1/4 inch in. So here is where we put our 1/4 inch in. Now I'm just going to draw 2 lines, and I'm putting that line right on. Oops, I'm trying to get as close to the line as I can with my felt marker. And all I'm doing is rubbing off the old felt marker. With this is not working out. Okay. Now, ooh. Okay, there's 1. Okay, get that all lined up again. There's 2. Okay. There. And you just trace around. Oops. You just trace around. And because you've done your cut line first, you can reposition your cut lines, and then everything else matches up perfectly. There we go. The last line is this one. Now you notice they've got, on this pattern, they've got the corners kind of tapered off, you know, in different directions. And that's for, you can mark those lines in as well for sewing or for hand sewing if you wish. Okay, so you just put that there and get that all lined up, and you put those there. There we go. Alright, so our seam allowance line is on, and our sewing line is on this piece. Right? Now, what you're going to do is, my straight of grain must be here. So I'm also going to mark in my straight of grain. So, SOG, right? And I'm cutting 8 for this particular pattern. Cut 8, octagon, octagon, shuffle is the name of the pattern, but it will be a free pattern Friday, not one for Quilt Bingo, right? So now I'm going to pick up my paper scissors, give it a, hopefully everything is dried good. And now I'm just going to cut on the outer edge. I'm just going to flip this over so I can see it better. I'm going to cut on that very outer edge of that black. Right, just so I have a good template. Whoops. Now template pieces like that, usually, you know, you can make stuff with those. You can make other little templates with them. Depends on how ambitious you are. I usually keep stuff that size because you never know when I'm going to need it. Okay. Now when you're holding this outer edge, you don't want to rub off any of the felt marker either, because it still really hasn't cured yet. Oops. Okay, now clip half. You just want to clip that curved. It's not really a curve, it's kind of a indented. There we go. There we go. And this top then needs to be clipped. Nice. There we go. Now, so let me move all this out of the way. And you can see what I'm talking about here now. Okay. So you've got your paper. Now, once you cut it, I always like to check it again, because that's kind of important that we check it. Make sure we haven't done anything dumb, you know, done anything stupid, or like, you know, cut where we shouldn't have cut, or cut off a seam allowance. I've done that too, making templates. So now with this, I can now go to my fabric and draw on my fabric and cut out a piece that's perfect for this, right? Now so this would be my cutting, and then I would cut out that piece of fabric. But if I'm hand sewing, at this point, I want to take the opportunity to mark my corner, right? Because when I'm drawing out the outer edge for the sew line, I also want to mark in there my corner. So what I do is I line this up the best I can, and I go this way because I have more visual, and I just pop out that little corner. And it usually just pops right out. Of course it didn't. Of course it didn't. Now when you're popping out that corner, point-to-point sewing is what hand quilters do. And what they do with that, it's not coming out. Use the awl. Go back to the awl. So when you do hand sewing, some hand sewers, they like to draw point-to-point because they don't want to draw the sew line. Right? So, I mean, that's kind of up to you. We will be doing some hand sewing because that's on your bingo card. So I'm just going to pop that open. Okay, I'm going to pop this open so I can, there. And I'm just going to, so now when I'm drawing out with my pencil, I can make a little mark here where that circle, that hole is. So let's try this again. Let's see if I can't get this thing to work. Because if it doesn't work, I paid a lot of money for something that won't work. It's supposed to puncture leather, so I can't see why it's not puncturing plastic. But anyways, there we go. Nope, it didn't puncture it again. So, yeah, like I say, you can do this the old-fashioned way with an awl, or you can do this with a there we go. You can do it with an awl, or you can do it with a punch, obviously. Now I have used the one, the 11/64 or something. Like, I've used the tiniest one, right? So the tiniest one on here is not working well. I guess maybe the plastic is too thick for it. I'm not sure why, but it's always nice when you can get something to work online. When you're online and you're filming it. There we go. Ooh, that worked. Okay, maybe I have to turn. I wasn't holding my tongue right. That was the problem. There. Oh, that didn't work. I went back to the old tongue holding position. There. There we go. So now, with those 4 holes, you now can navigate through your sewing. Like I say, it's up to you what kind of a hand quilter or hand sewer you are. Some people love to, they don't do the seam allowance, they just do the sew line, and then they cut around it to make it bigger, and they've got it you know, exactly the way they need it. You know, some hand sewers are like that, but it's up to you. But this is a quick little refresher. Get yourself some, I mean, there's all sorts of things you can do to get this kind of plastic. You can use plastic folders, right? Dividing folders, because if you can see through them, chances are you can work with them. So I'm going to continue drawing out this because apparently I'm going to need it. And in a future Free Pattern Friday episode, and it'll be lots of fun. So I'll see you back at our big ta-da moment when we're done. Okay, so there's your template refresher, the color palette I'm picking for my quilts that I'm doing, because I'm doing all 3 blocks, right? I'm doing red, blue, and yellow because I can, and it's going to be a fun couch throw when I'm done, or I might throw it all together into twin quilts, or I haven't decided, but it'll end up going to a charity. So yes, the beginners are going to have some templates to do as well. So this is a good refresher for you guys. And it was a lot of fun. It's not complicated. You just have to have that plastic. And like I say, this is binder dividers. Or you can use cardboard too, right? I mean, it's up to you. But if you're using cardboard, you're drawing on the line, like you've got your cardboard underneath your pattern, and then taking your tracing wheel around, and then you mark. That's how you always mark your cardboard. So that's another tip. If you don't have plastic at home, like template plastic at home, that's another way you can do this. But anyways, I do hope you are following along and you're trying. This octagon shuffle will come up as a Free Pattern Friday probably very soon, now that I've got the templates cut out. So, and I hope your life is going absolutely magnificently and life is treating you very gently. So your 1/4 inch has got to be perfect. So stay well, take care until we see each other again. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life and, you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your lives and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.